Good evening. Hey, I got a lot of questions around that last video on plant-based. Karen, you got me to move over to pretty much 100% plant-based eating. And
I love that you're giving me credit, but you know that we both know that you did that yourself. That was a choice to do that yourself. And when a lot of people say, I couldn't do it, it's too hard, you can do it.
I took guidance, I guess.
Of course.
We can go into that, but
Absolutely.
So it's guidance, just like everything we're doing here
Right.
in the book and we're putting out there. It's just guidance, but to your point, everybody has to make their own decisions, obviously.
Right.
But my first thought was, what I'm going to do, eat salads every day, every meal, salads?
I sure hope not.
Right. Well, that was my idea. So, people ask me, like, what do you eat?
Right.
And you probably one of the best plant-based cooks that I know. I mean, we have a lot of people that come over, people that are full-on carnivores, and they think they couldn't survive, and we just don't tell them what's in what you're making, and they eat the whole thing and think, wow, this was vegan? I could live this way.
Sure. When you go to someone's house, you don't usually ask what's in it anyway, right?
Right.
Unless, of course, you've got food allergies or if you happen to be a plant-based eater. But if you make food thoughtfully, with love, and beautifully, I find that people will enjoy it, right? Those things are far more important than putting a label on it. And a lot of people are really into their health as well. So I do try to cook very healthfully. I very infrequently use oil. I know that you use it more than I do. I'm a big fan of using mushroom broth, or if you don't like mushrooms, I use a vegetable broth instead of oils for cooking and roasting. And I just am always excited to try something new. And if somebody sends me a vegan recipe, I'm super excited about that, and I like to share them as well. But the point is that everything that I'm reading right now leads to plant-based eating is definitely the healthiest option out there. The long-term effects of it equal longevity. Right. Whereas you hear a lot about these other diets, the grain-free or the keto and the Atkins, and I can't name them all, eat for your blood type, but there seems to be something with each one of them that doesn't equal longevity. Right. And the key really here is longevity. I mean, we have made eating a sport. Every single corner has a new restaurant. My parents were saying that there's a new White Castle here, which has been around forever, and the line is it's insane. People wait. One guy said he skipped work to wait in the line, but obviously it had to be more than just him.
Well, you're saying White Castle. I think it's important. Well, out in Scottsdale, they have probably some of the nicest restaurants in the country, and there is one on every street. And White Castle. I forgot they told me about that. It's ridiculous. It's like, I think I ate at White Castle maybe once 30 years ago. I was hammered in Boston, somewhere, and went in there and had their sliders, whatever they make. Nothing against you guys if you work for White Castle.
Absolutely
or anybody out there.
not. But the point is that people will wait in line for something like that because it's about the sport. It's no longer about the value of the food and the nutrition of the food. And then I always get asked this, or I get this comment, I tried it and I was just too tired, I couldn't get enough protein. First of all, you have no idea if you're able to get enough protein or not, and most doctors are not that informed on the vegan diet enough to help you, so you really need to go to specialists. But think about this, what do cows eat? What do fish eat? All of the sources that we have been taught to go to for protein, we're just using the animals to get to the real protein source, which is in the sea, the plankton and the algae, and in the earth is the vegetables and the corn and the soy and the grass and the greens, all of the things that these animals are fed. That's how they get their protein. So why not just go right to the source and let your body have those nutrients? The other thing I want to say, and I rarely talk about the animal factor, so I'm going to leave that portion out, but when you're eating these animal products, 90+% of them have been injected with hormones or antibiotics. And there have been many marketing tools to get around that, like natural. Natural only means that within so many days of the animal being slaughtered, that they were taken off anything. That doesn't mean that they weren't given unnatural substances. It just means that within the slaughter date, they weren't given those things. There are organic and there are, hormone-free products out there, but they are so few and far between. And for the masses that are listening to this, I would lay a lot of money on the fact that you and your family are eating hormones and antibiotics, which is leading to a whole nother issue of, these flus and going around that we can no longer take care of, and things happening that we can't provide antibiotics for because the human body is becoming resistant to that due to the intake of the antibiotics from eating these animals that are given the antibiotics. So it becomes this domino effect, not to then take it a step further and the effect on the environment.
Right.
So, there are so many cases for eating plant-based, and it all starts with your own good health. So if you have any questions about how to start going plant-based, or, need some recipes, or how to get your family to do it, don't make a big deal about it. It doesn't have to be, we're going to have vegetables only tonight. You can serve an absolutely beautiful meal.
Right. Well, we're heading to an event right now. It just reminds me, I don't want to spoil it, but we have an event coming up, and Karen's planning some of the meals that are 100% plant-based. We're just not going to say anything about it, but I guarantee you no one's really going to know, which is very interesting. But I think the point to this whole thing is, people are wondering, how can you get it done? And I think I am going to do that. I'm going to start videoing. Yes, I was going to say videotaping. We're going to video some of your
We're dating ourselves.
Some of your recipes and meals.
Thanks.
Well, no, I think it's great for everybody to understand that you don't have to just eat a salad, but I think that'll help a lot. And if you want to go back to one of my earlier videos called No More Ham, you can see just scientific evidence on what this has done for me personally. And I know a lot of other people, if you read Furman's books and others, it's just people all around the globe, and this has all been documented and studied. But there's a way for you to cure yourself, and it's through your food.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, it was Furman's book, but then also the other thing was the blue zones. And I kept saying to Karen, well, if I'm going to do this, like, show me how it's going to, increase my life or help me live a better life. This is our mantra, helping people live a better life. So we dug into the blue zones. If you're not familiar with the blue zones, read those books and studies, because that's the only place on the planet where it's been documented that people live to be 100, 110, but very healthful living. And a lot of it is a heavy plant-based diet. They're not 100%, but they're heavy plant-based diets, and they eat less. I think that's very key.
Some of them actually are 100% in the blue zones. I know Loma Linda is 100%.
It's a religion, but that's the only one.
And the other ones are probably 95+% plant slant, as I like to call it. But you know what, honey, I just want to expound upon the fact that you said, at one point you did feel like you had to give something up. And that's a big thing until you came around and realized that not only do you not have to give something up, but I think you enjoy eating this way more now, because the variety and the the beauty in the food, right, is so abundant.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like, I was a foodie like there's no one
Still
else
are.
I mean, going around. Yeah, still
Yeah.
am, I guess. But at the end of the day, yeah, you had to give some things up because a lot of things that I was eating, didn't fit. But that's fine. You adjust, and your body adjusts to it, and you end up thriving, without some of those things you felt like you couldn't live without, right?
And craving healthy things now. I mean, I can honestly say there's nothing that I've given up that, if someone said that you had 30 days to live, that I would go and eat. I have zero desire for any of those things. So, if you have any questions about how to move forward with it, or how to do it healthfully and mindfully, I would love to hear any kind of questions. If you want recipes, I'm happy to give you recipes. And again, I'm not looking to change the world, but if a few people decide to eat a little more healthfully, even if they only do it one day a week, I'd feel good about that.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, we're heading to Costa Rica from here, and our favorite hotel down there. Shout out to Papagayo,
The
Andaz Papagayo,
and the great chefs there that brought on vegan menus in every one of their recipes.
entrees.
Vegan menus, full menu.
Oh yeah, okay.
Vegan menus.
But there's like six options on every menu, right?
But they now have a vegan menu in every one of their restaurants on the Andaz property. So
they didn't have that before we were hucking them on it. So I like to think we were part of the cause. I don't know if they give us full credit. You guys will have to let us know when we get back down there. But we helped them design some of that stuff, and
right.